Welcome to Sunday service. We'll start in about 5 minutes.
So I did not want to be here for that as well. But I'm so glad that it's really I hope we can do something like that again. Thank you. Thank you so much. Who's my favorite?
Yeah. Well, no, that's just the time of year.
And what?
Good morning.
Yes.
Good morning.
Yes. They didn't like it.
Well, somebody else might. Hi, how are you today? Good. Well, everybody else. Is that right? What brought you here today?
Well, we're drafted.
I hear it. Where is it?
What?
I hear it. I think it's in the recording.
And she saw stuff. She wore the bird with body. And she has her shed. There were both birds.
There was.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome to the Unitarian Universalist of Door County. My name is Carrie Link, and as a member of this fellowship, I welcome each and every one of you here this morning. And thank you Thank you, Beth, for the lovely, lovely music. Please take a moment to silence your cell phones so that we can all enjoy our time together this morning. This morning, as a way of welcoming, I'd like to quote these words by William F. Schultz. I believe they convey what Unitarian Universalism means to many of us. Come into this place of peace and let its silence heal your spirit. Come into this place of memory and let its history warm your soul. Come into this place of prophecy and let its vision change your heart. We welcome all and thank all of you who found the time to be here this morning in person or online. I'm wondering if there are any visitors here this morning or anyone who hasn't been here for a while. And if you're comfortable doing so, we'd like to have you stand, introduce yourselves, tell us where you're from and what brought you here this morning. It isn't mandatory, but we can welcome you more personally. Yes.
Hi, I'm Amy Maros. I'm from Jacksonport, actually the suburbs of Jacksonport. I'm from West Jackson. And this is my first visit today to any UU church, and I've been looking for my tribe, and perhaps I'll fit.
Great. Welcome. Anyone else? Yes.
Jean and Chuck Brew, and we're from Elmhurst, Illinois, and we go to Unity Temple in Elmhurst.
Welcome. Welcome. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm Hillary Jensen. I'm from Sturgeon Bay. I follow Help of Door County and Door County Amplify online, and I saw about the speaker today. I was very interested. This is my mom, Kay, who I invited to come along.
Great. Welcome. Thank you. If anyone would like to know more about Unitarian Universalism in general, or our fellowship in particular, please feel free to ask any of us, as well as stopping at the welcoming table. We have a lot of printed information in the foyer, and please be sure to sign the guest book. Because Door County is now listed in the low to medium risk for COVID, we invite everyone to gather for coffee and conversation immediately following the postlude. And then when the chimes sound again, we will again gather back here, right in this area, for a talk back with Brother Ajamu Butler. And having just mentioned him, it is a pleasure to welcome him to UUFDC.
Thank you.
And I hope you've all had a chance to read the front of your order of service. But in addition, he provides an international perspective on developing the minds and hearts of youth, particularly that of Black boys and other boys of color. He aims to elevate, entertain, and educate his audiences, and we thank him for being here. Please take a look at the announcements on the back of the order of service. Usually these pertain just to the fellowship, but if anyone else has a brief announcement they would like to make, Carl will bring the microphone to you. Are there any announcements? Okay.
Morning, my name is Hank Wolst, and I'm actually going to read from some notes lest I inadvertently choke up and lose my train of thought. I owe you an apology. I was running a bit late this morning and I grabbed the first jacket I saw in my closet. Happened to be an orange jacket. And many of you know that I'm from the Netherlands. And so much to my dismay, as I got closer to the fellowship, I wondered whether I should just keep it on go ahead and take it off, but it's cold out, so I kept it on. I didn't mean to evoke memories of the game yesterday. The game between the Netherlands and the United States, which of course the Netherlands won 3-1. I wouldn't knowingly do that. And I'm not going to mention it now. What's past is past. So I sincerely regret, I truly regret this lapse into sartorial carelessness and insensitivity. Go Nederland. Go Oranje.
That is from our illustrious president of the board.
My name is Karen Studebaker. Good morning. David and I will be in the foyer with petition papers, asking you please to sign your agreement to allow John Lowry to run for village president of Liberty Grove. So if you are so inclined, stop by and give us your signature. Oh, you do have to be a resident of Liberty Grove. That would help.
On the 22nd of December, Door Community Auditorium will host an ugly Christmas sweater party concert with Big Mouth and the Power Tool Horns, also Janet Planet. But leading up to that event, we have a funniest holiday story competition, and I would invite all of you to submit your funniest holiday stories. You can send the submission either in written form, video or audio recording to marketing@dcauditorium.org. And the details are on our website. You could win $220. I'm sure someone could use that. Oh, and you get to tell your story from stage, and you get free tickets too.
Hi, my name is Ed DeMaio, and I'll be the featured poet at the Emily Dickinson Poetry Series on the 14th here at the UU.
Hi, Lynn Lees. As many of you know, we lost our talented, smart, and courageous Valerie Marie Schlick last week. The family has chosen to have a memorial service for Valerie and her husband, Toby, who died 2 years ago, next Saturday, the 10th, here at our fellowship. I suspect I'm going to need some volunteers. We're meeting with the family tomorrow, and I'll know then. But if you could volunteer next Friday or Saturday morning, I will have a clipboard out in the lobby, and it will be mainly setting up rooms and things like that. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. We will now open this morning's service with the lighting of the chalice with these words by Martin Luther King Jr. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Please stand as you are able in body or spirit for the unison affirmation followed by the doxology.
We're gonna sing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I am not following the order of service. We are going to sing hymn number 147. Yes, thank you. We will now do the unison affirmation. We gather
together to seek knowledge and wisdom, to explore freely the vast reaches of mind and spirit, to celebrate within a caring community those truths, ancient and modern, which give meaning and direction to our lives.
Going to ask you to please remain standing. I'm sorry, this is a long time to stand, but today being the first Sunday of the month, we have another custom that we choose one of the 7 principles of UU and discuss it a bit. In lieu of my just doing that, I'd like to have everyone join in the responsive reading number 594 in the back of the hymnal. We affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person.
We believe that each and every person is important.
We affirm and promote justice, equity, and compassion in human relations.
We believe that all people should be treated fairly.
We affirm and promote acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth.
We believe that our churches are places where all people are accepted and where we keep on working together.
We affirm and promote a free and responsible truth for search for truth and meaning.
We believe that each person must be free to search for what is true and right in their life.
We affirm and promote the right of conscience and the use of democratic process.
We believe that all people should have a voice and a vote about the things which concern them.
We affirm and promote the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all.
We believe that we should work for a peaceful, fair, and free world.
We affirm and promote respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part.
We believe that we should care for our planet Earth.
Thank you. Now you deserve to sit down. We will now take a moment for joys and concerns. This is an opportunity for you to share something which has brought you happiness or something which by sharing will help relieve a sadness you've experienced. And please remember to state your name first and that you have permission to share any information regarding a person or persons, since our service is live and being recorded. And again, Carl will bring the microphone to you. Any joys or concerns?
I'm Helene DiUlio, and I'm proud to say that my oldest son is going to be 65 tomorrow.
Wow.
Lynn Lees again. 2 announcements, then I'll sit down and stay quiet. The good news is Sally Malmus is recovering very well from her hip surgery. She will be in North Carolina with her daughter Karen till the 19th of December. Then she'll fly to Chicago and be with her daughter Karen, where she will be through Christmas. But hopefully she's going to get back where she belongs after that. My second announcement is, many of you know Jan Forkert was admitted to Cherry Cove Memory Care Unit in Sturgeon Bay this week, which is tough, but a relief to her daughter Jackie, who's been caring for her. The family requests we not visit for a few weeks till Jan gets acclimated to her position. Perhaps cards would be good.
I hope you'll all take a moment in the gathering room to, Peggy Lott, to see Ginny Capert's wonderful work. Karen Winsens and Ginny and I hung it the other day, and with Jan no longer on our committee and Val also gone, we would like some new members to help us with the artistic work that we put up throughout the year. Thank you.
Good morning, Beth Coleman, and just to ask that you keep Katie Dahl, Rich Higdon, and their son Guthrie in your hearts and prayers. She told me that this was okay to reach out to all of you with that request. They took Guthrie to Madison yesterday. He was having some issues with his kidneys, and they're in the process of figuring out what is going on. He's in good spirits today. They've been resting. So just hold them in your hearts as they discern what's happening with his kidneys, and send them all your love and healing light. So, and she said he is doing much better. The doctors are puzzled, but it didn't feel as much of an emergency, so.
The offering will now be given and received in grateful appreciation of our shared hopes and values. We will now take a moment to silence our busy thoughts and to appreciate our peaceful surroundings. May each of our thoughts help bring peace to the world. And now we welcome Ajamu Butler.
Good morning, good people.
Good morning.
Okay, that was all right. We're gonna wake up. I know it's a little cold, it's a little early. The environment I come from is loud, right? My people, we like to turn up, and there's just a certain energy that I demand from people, because waking up on this side of the earth is a true blessing. That does not mean that that day will be easy, right? Some of us go through trials, tribulations, traumas, and dramas. But the way I see it, as long as I got air in my lungs, I'm going to be glad and rejoice. So I'm going to kind of reintroduce myself, right? Little claps ain't gonna hurt, you know what I mean? A couple of snaps, maybe some foot stomps, I don't know if we got tambourines or anything, So I'm gonna step back down and say, all right, we got Ajamu Butler coming up in the yard. All right. All right. Now coming up, Ajamu Butler. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
That's energy I can play with. I can definitely deal with that energy. I know a lot has been said about myself. We had a little bit of information in the article. My website has been going around, and some social media postings and whatnot. But my name is Ajamu Butler. I am a 4-time children's book author. I am an international traveler. I am the founder of Heal the Hood Milwaukee. I am a lecturer, a scholar, and a poet, a student of life. I'm a father, I'm a son, I'm a healer most of all. That is the title that I hold closest to my heart, because in all of the different arenas that I find myself in, be it fatherhood, be it familyhood, be it community, be it business, my goal is always to put brokenness back together and to make something whole again. So when we talk about the movement Heal the Hood, our slogan, which brings us our title of today's message, our motto, what we live by and what we truly operate on, is heal the hearts, heal the homes, and heal the hoods. Mm-hmm. Before I get too heavily into my message, let me do my thank yous, because I'll go right off the deep end and be clowning up here, all right? I want to thank Help of Door County and Tracy Robertson. Can we give Help of Door County a We've been working diligently over the last couple of months or so to kind of put all of the pieces of the puzzle together and just make sure that this thing has been flowing smoothly. I want to thank Miss Cindy for your dedication and your commitment to making sure things like this happen. This is so important and so impactful, and we couldn't have done it without your contribution. So we definitely thank you as well. I have a couple of friends on their way. One of them is my cousin. We do this line of work together. Her name is Leah Hortman. Hopefully they'll be here in the next 20 minutes or so. But she's one of my co-facilitators. So whenever I do these workshop series and lengthy programming that involves social emotional healing and trauma informed care and whatnot. I love to have her by my side. She's just a great kind of balance. We're just an amazing duo. So if she were here, I would say, cousin, thank you for coming, right? And then along with her is my good friend Bradley. We call him famous in Milwaukee. Bradley is, I mean, just a solid Native American brother that I met some years ago when he's a photographer and videographer. And I like to believe that prior or post meeting Bradley, things have taken off tremendously. Because the work has to be captured. And so sometimes I have him in different spaces with me to, capture my workshops and photo shoots and whatnot. And it's just, we in the technology age. So even though I don't even like doing social media and making reels and videos and posting all the time, there's just so much value in that. And he helps me tremendously in that area. So if he were here, I would say, Bradley, thank you for being my homie. But we'll show them love once they arrive. I come in the name of my pain and the chaos and the craziness going on in my city right now. I think I would be remiss in my duty if I did not come into a space as such and bring the voice of those children whose voices do not get heard, that I work with on a daily basis. I think I would do some injustice to the place that I call home if I come into a space as such and I don't bring those stories of pain and hopelessness, but there's still a little bit of faith in the lives of all of the children that I work with on a daily basis. When you come from the mud, and it's interesting, I've been doing a series of workshops called The Medicine in the Mud. The Medicine in the Mud, right? Because we're taught that the mud is a dirty thing, right? To get your clothes dirty, it's a messy thing, you want to wash it off. But in certain cultures and tradition around the world, you take that mud bath, your skin gonna come out glowing, right? If you're an elephant and it get too hot and you throw that mud on you, you're going to cool down real quick. So sometimes life is about perspective. And when we are in the mud, we have to learn value for the mud. We have to learn how to utilize that mud so that we can grow. So I would be remiss in my duty if I didn't bring a little bit of the mud from my city with me. Because it makes me who I am. The pain, the progress, the hopes, the ups, the downs, the wins, the losses, they all make me a better man. On this mission called Heal the Hood, right? We'll talk a little bit about that, later in the conversation, but our motto is very specific. It's extremely specific. Heal the hearts, heal the homes, heal the hoods. Because it's a 3-step process that we try to follow. A lot of us have a desire to get out into the community, to get out into the world and commit acts of service, which I love. As I look at the interfaith artwork, every faith up here deals with service. It deals with being kind. It deals with love as the root of all of these different teachings that we have before us. Love, service, ministry, helping, healing. It may look different. It may be dressed up and worded a little bit differently, but at the meat of it and the substance of it, that is what we do. So as we move forward, and I want to thank the fellowship as well. As I was doing some research, and my cousin and they just walked in, but as I was doing some research, my cousin was with me. We were watching some videos and just on the website and some YouTube things. I was in love at the concept of so many different belief systems, faiths, ideas, and operations coming together to serve. Coming together to say, no matter what your position is, no matter what your perspective is, there's some commonality amongst us. Let's tap into that commonality and let's do some social justice in the world. Let's add value to the world around us. So I am appreciative of just being in this space to look at such a well-oiled machine. It's like the body, right? It's like the body. If the heart were to say, my lifestyle and the way I operate is much more important than the lungs, and this is my belief system. And you know what? Today, I'm going to take off because I don't need to work as hard as the lungs because we have a totally different operation. The body will shut down. What if the liver and the kidney said, you know what, we are, I'm better than the lungs. I'm better than the brain. I can take a break today because we are so different. But no. Each part of your body has to work in unison so that we can operate as a whole. So I just want to make that point clear that I'm very appreciative of the philosophy of the church, of the philosophy of the fellowship here. When you do the work of community, when you do the work of ministry, of healing, of servitude, it is a blessing and a burden. It is a blessing and a burden. The blessing comes from being able to transform a life. The blessing comes from being able to give hope to the hopeless, right? I cannot tell you all how many children I have worked with in the last 10 years or so who their environments take every piece of joy and imagination out of their being. However, with the right plan, with a little bit of faith, and with the right support system, these kids are able to transform their lives. And as I just said, they can get up out that mud real quick. And so the blessing comes from being able to say, do you see where we started at? We started with nothing. The world was against us. The odds were against us. We were against our own selves. We had to correct our stinking thinking, get a plan of action going, right? Get a plan of action going. And then you walk in that vision. You flow in that plan of action. So there's some intrinsic value there. There's that piece of goodness that comes from making the world a better place. It just is, right? I like to pick up litter on my block. It makes me feel good, right? Now, does that stop starvation, overseas? No, it does not. Will that stop wars from happening overseas? Absolutely not. But will it give us a different view of the environment in which we live, and a more beautified view helps us to breathe a different piece of air? It helps us to look at our environment with a little bit more hope. So there's an intrinsic piece that comes from service when you talk about healing the hoods, but that's the blessing. But that burden, carrying the responsibility of saying, I see hopelessness and I want to add hope there. I see darkness and I want to add light there. I see pain and I want to add healing there. When you take on that type of thing right there, that's a spiritual anointing. That's a thing. You lose sleep about that thing sometimes. You lose time with your family when you out in the. How many of us have committed acts of service throughout the years? And it's like, listen, I would love to be at home with my son. I have an 11-year-old son, beautiful, bold black boy. But I have, it's like I gotta go out here to the movement. I gotta go out into the community. And so luckily I'm able to live a lifestyle where I can ingrain my son in a lot of the work that I do. So when I'm out serving, me and him are out serving. But sometimes the work that we commit ourselves to, it does take away from our home life. It takes away from our peace of mind, right? There's something I battled with called the Superman complex a couple of years ago. And legitimately thinking that I could save any and everybody that came in my path to one of my workshops, to one of my speaking engagements. I'm like, as soon as they walk out of the door, their bank accounts will be filled. They'll be at peace. They'll be crush their demons, right? And that's not how it goes. I was disappointed myself with that. I was disappointed myself with that until I really learned that you have to find your balance as the messenger. Yeah. If you're going to be a healer, maybe I'm not the one to administer the exact healing. Maybe I just give a small diagnosis. And then you go to the professionals to take care of that thing. Maybe that professional is therapy. Maybe that professional is your spiritual house of worship. Maybe that, there's so many different angles in which we can get our healing when we are experiencing various levels of hurt. The blessing and the burden. And deciding that I want to live my life to serve something bigger than myself. Not my ego. Not my pride. Not my pocketbook. I want to help people who have less than. They say one of the greatest things you can do for somebody is give to somebody who may not be able to give back to you. Right. That's good. That's real humility. And me and cousin, I gave you an amazing shout out earlier. Cousin is here, so cousin, thank you for taking this journey with me, being on the road with me these next several days. But we often talk about, this thing where, I'm gonna feed the homeless, but I'm gonna stick a camera all in their face while I'm, so I can take my picture for Instagram and I can take my. How degrading has social media began to run our lives so much that service can't even be just sincere and genuine. We take our karma, we thank God for it, and we go on to the next. We got to get a couple of likes on that thing. We got to get a hashtag on that thing. We got to get somebody else to say, oh, I see you did that. Congratulations. But sometimes a thank you. I'm not the most wealthiest individual, right? I come from nothing. I come from that mud as we spoke of earlier. So when people do certain things for me and they give me certain things, my thank you is not just thank you, I appreciate it. Because that's just a kind thing to do, is to say thank you. But sometimes people have done things and impacted my life, and my thank you is like, you saved my life. You gave me grace when I wasn't extending grace to myself. And 26 letters don't do me justice, so I just simply say thank you. But what I do, if I cannot repay this person who just changed my life, I got to go take that message and change somebody else's. That's a mandate. That's a mandate. So let me get back on track because we're talking about the hoods, healing the world around us, healing the environment around us. When I first started this movement back in 2012, you couldn't tell me that I wasn't going to be in New Zealand healing, and I was going to be in China doing this thing, and I was going to help starvation in Mogadishu, and you understand? But then some time passed, and I said, okay, that's a little bit much. Maybe we should just focus on America. You can't change the world. Maybe you can change America. So, okay, let's do it. And I said, wait a minute, that's a bit too much, right? Let me focus on my city and my state, okay? So now I'm downsizing, but I'm expanding at the same time. My daddy always taught me when you chase two rabbits, you're going to miss both of them. I can end the sermon right there. I can end the word right there. When you chase two rabbits, you're going to miss out on both of them. So I had to simplify the vision to be more impactful with the vision.
Sure.
Right? To be more impactful with the vision. So now instead of saying I'm going to change the world in Australia and so on and so forth, I'm going to do my thing in Wisconsin. That's a little bit daunting because in Wisconsin, we got terrible education, terrible political systems, terrible this. I say, you know what? Let me just change my block. Let me just change the little black boy I come into contact with. Let me just put a little bit of hope into the little black girl I come into contact with and let them spread their seeds. We all have roles to play on this journey called life. And I love what I do with Heal the Hood. So before we get to that second piece, which is Heal the Homes, let me just give a small description of Heal the Hood. Several years ago, back in 2012, I was working with a small group of people, and we were going to bring in a scholar to do some lecturing just about various social justice issues and things going on in the community. The cost got too exorbitant for us. I said, listen, y'all, let's do our own event. Let's call this thing Heal the Hood. You know, we can give away a little bit of free food. We can do some networking. We got people right here in our own city who can speak to the issues of our own city, right? We can deal with our own mess and get this thing together. Little did I know that small faith of a mustard seed, when we make that decision to say on May 26, 2012, we're going to start this Heal the Hood thing, I didn't think 10 years later I would be. See, back then I thought I could save the world for real, but I just came back from Africa. 10 years later, after I kind of made a decision, like narrow your vision down so you can be more impactful, that's when God ordered my steps a little bit more efficiently for me. A little bit more efficiently. But I believed that I could change the world back when I didn't even have a car. How you even gonna get to How you even gonna get there? The bus route don't go that far it don't go that far to South Africa, okay? But there was something inside of me that was greater than that was outside of me. And I never gave up on that. So with Heal the Hood, what we've grown into, we have two major arms of the movement. We have our educational arm, which is where we go into the classroom settings and we go into the corporate settings and we do different trainings and developments. And we have a curriculum called We Are Not Poets, We Are Messengers. We are not poets, we are messengers, where we teach social emotional growth through creative writing, where we teach how to take that pen and put that thing on that paper to free yourself from yourself. Right, I love that piece of the curriculum. Right, so we have that educational arm going into the schools, the colleges. We have a plethora of. I love using that word plethora. We have a plethora of workshop content that we administer. Right, from staff development, corporate things, right on down to working with the K-5 babies. Right, because everybody needs their healing in between. Yes, and the second arm of it is our annual block party and outreach campaigns. We go into some of the worst parts of Milwaukee. Some of the most worst parts of Milwaukee where the crime is up there, the violence is up there. It's a food desert, meaning there is no tangible grocery store in reasonable distance, right? And so we wondering why our people are crazy because we eating hot chips and sodas all day because we ain't got access to apples and bananas. And if we do, it costs $10 more than a 50-cent bag of chips. I digress. We go into the worst parts of the city and we set up shop. We do these elaborate block parties that at this point in time will bring out thousands of people. I think our highest one was last year, our 9th annual. We had about 1,200 people who came out. And that blew my mind. That blew my mind because I'm just a little black boy from the ghettos who decided I wanted to do something with my life and hopefully that can change somebody else's life in the process. Yes? Yeah. But we have all these things. Thank you. There we go. That's that energy I'm talking about. That's that energy. But at the block parties, it's so amazing. We have 40, 50 different resource vendors. We have a lot of local businesses who come up and set up shop to sell their goods, their products, and their services. We have amazing entertainment. We always have free stuff for the children, free food. But what I'm always amazed about with Heal the Hood is how we can go to the worst part of the trenches and have so many hundreds of people, no violence, Not one fight, not one riff-raff, because as the word just said, you can't fight darkness with darkness. You got to bring light onto that thing.
Right.
You can't fight hate with hatred. You got to bring love onto that thing. Right. So even down to the music choice that we play at Heal the Hood when the DJ is playing the music, it's inspirational. It's music that make you feel good, music that make you want to tap your toes and dance. Because where I'm from in the ghettos of Milwaukee, it's always kill this, shoot this, sell my dope, do my this, that, and the third. That's not what we're trying to perpetuate here. So those are the two major pieces of Heal the Hood. But before we can get to the block, before we can get to Heal the Hood, we got to heal the home. We got to take care of the four walls. I can't tell y'all how many brothers I work with in the community. They got all of these ideas for youth development and mentorship program and da-da-da. Can't tell you what their son's favorite color is. When the last time they took their wife out for a dinner date? But they want to be all out in the community loving. And there's nothing wrong with that, please believe, because we need it in the community as much as we can. But we need it with pure intentions. We need it with the proper intentions. We need it with the proper blueprint. And so oftentimes when people come to me and they say, hey, Ajamu, I got this idea. I want to do this thing. Okay, well, let's step back. Let's take the whole nonprofit conversation, organization conversation off the table and tell me about your heart. Why do you want to do this? What's your real goal? Is it because you heard somebody else got this big old grant and they traveling and so you want to get a grant as well? Or is it because you want to do for a little child what you wish somebody did for you? What's the intention behind it? Let's get our house together. We got to start cleaning the cobwebs out the corners. We got to do more than just wake up and make the bed. Clean under the bed. Come on. I'm talking to myself. Right? This is a reminder. Like, oh, when I get home, okay. This is a reminder to myself. Go room for room. Dust. Get to the chandeliers. Wipe the fan off. Be wondering what. Now I'm talking metaphorically, but I'm talking figuratively and literally as well. We wonder why the breathing air in the house ain't good. We ain't even dusted off the fan, lady. We can't even breathe in our own household. Air the closets out. Deal with our demons. Deal with those things that rob us of sleep. Before we can get out into the world and onto the battlefield of life, there's a certain conversation you have to have with those in your immediate village, in your immediate tribe, in your immediate household, in your immediate fellowship. Yes? And so I come from a village and a tribe of friends, if you will, and family, if you will. When one of us is slacking, we got to call it out we got to call that thing out, right? I have a friend of mine, and I always take this story with me because it just, like, I can see it as clear as I can see everybody in this room today. But me and this brother, we used to get up every single day and literally like do nothing for like 2 hours. We'd talk, maybe we'd go get a drink. Like he was just getting off of work and I was just about to start work. So we just had a little bit of gap of time. And every day we had a routine of getting up to do nothing and to literally talk about nothing. That's cool with me. But I understood at some point the conversation started to talk about like he was having problems as a dad, wasn't spending enough time with the kids. He was kind of like blaming stuff on the children's mother and so on and so forth. And I get it, right? I know the struggle is hard. You know, I know how this thing is being a parent. Trust me, I get it. But at some point I got a little fed up and I told him, I said, brother, every day we get a routine. I mean, this thing was Monday through Friday. Literally. Rain, sleep, snow, sunshine. Why you ain't got no routine with the kids? You can't take them to the park for an hour. So I said, until you can develop your routine, this is me talking to my brother, like, and I got to talk to him straight, drop, direct. Get a routine with them kids, and then we can revisit our routine. Because even if it is in the morning when we get up, go volunteer at the kids' school or something. I don't know. Go check up on them. Take them lunch. Take them cupcakes. Go read a book to the group or something of the nature. But find a solution to the pollution. Because sometimes we are the problem, right? Sometimes it's just simply the decisions we make, how we choose to invest our time, our habits, our thoughts, and the people around us. So we got to get the home together before we can get out here parading in the community. I don't want to get too vulgar and too graphic with it, but in Milwaukee, we have so much domestic violence going on. I mean, women are losing their lives. And I'm not saying that men are not victims of domestic violence. I'm just talking about what the current reality is. Women are losing their lives left and right and left. And it's a trend. Like you hear some of these guys who perpetuate some of these things. Like he was just with the kids talking about love yourself and love your neighbor and do good in the world and be positive. And then behind closed doors, we got a whole different situation, a whole different conversation. So those are things that we got to check because that waters down the movement. That waters down the movement. They hear cousin is out here in her movement and she's stealing from the nonprofit. They don't even want to trust Heal the Hood no more. You got church hurt, you got movement hurt, you got nonprofit hurt. Now I don't even care about doing acts of service because the person that I trusted to mentor my child or to give me guidance or to coach me, they took whatever level of advantage of me. So we got to get the four walls of our operation together. But before I can go into my son's room and say, son, I need you to make your bed and clean your cobwebs, I got to have some mirror talk. No, I don't think so. You got to have some mirror talk. My cousin, she's going to be, and I'm telling y'all, I love this woman right here. Like she is, you are dope. I just love you so much for real. She does a workshop called Mirror Talk, and we're going to be implementing some of that on this tour we're on. And she teaches how, statistically speaking, people can't look in the mirror for longer than 7 seconds, just staring at themselves. If they're not getting their hair together, checking the tie, because we take all the time in the world, we need to do that. And I ain't even got to, I just wake up, my hair is like this, but I'm gonna find some time to spend in the mirror and make sure that everything is together. But what about when it ain't about none of that? What if you got to look into the soul of yourself? And what if you got to have some honest and uncomfortable conversation with yourself? Are we able to do that? So before we can get out into our son's room and say, hey, man, clean this room up, doggone it, you're wasting too much time on the game. How much time am I wasting on social media? How much time am I wasting doing things that don't add value to myself, my life, my family, the movement, and the world around me? So before we can get into our children's room or our neighbor's room, we got to get into our own room. We got to deal with those demons that rob us of sleep, right? And the thing about trauma, the thing about pain is that it's a constant. You don't just like feel one piece of pain and then you never hurt anymore in your life. You don't just experience the death of one person you know and then nobody else passes away and you don't feel that sorrow or that mourning again. You don't just one time get late on bills and now you're trying to scramble and figure this thing out. It's like this. And so when we talk about this healing thing, heal the hearts, heal the homes, heal the hoods, it's a roadmap to say, let me get myself together. I can do nothing for my community. I can do nothing for my family if I can't do nothing for myself. I can't even love on a pet cat properly if I'm not loving on myself. That's why I ain't got a pet. I tell people, I just be days I barely eat myself. I'm just out in the movement, ripping and running all day. And I look up and it's, whatever o'clock at night, I'm like, I ain't even ate nothing today. I would hate to have a pet dog and cat and they looking at me when I get home like, so we fasting again today? So we fasting. So I have to say, I can't take on that responsibility to feed someone else until I have fed myself. And that's why I love, again, the UU fellowship thought process. Everybody brings something unique to the table to help the greater good. My uniqueness may be different from your uniqueness, and yours may be different from your Cindy's uniqueness. But it does not take value from either player, from either person on the field, right? Imagine playing basketball. And I'm not a basketball player, so this might not be a good analogy. I don't even watch basketball, so why am I talking about basketball? I don't know, it's relatable. I don't know. But you got different positions, right? You got like a center, a power forward, somebody give me another one. Point guard. A point guard, XYZ. I'm like, you got a quarterback? No, that's the other one. Right? You got all of these different, but imagine if everybody plays center.
Yeah, doesn't work.
It won't happen. Imagine if everybody wanted to be the shooting guard, and everybody just got to take the ball. And, come on, you're gonna have a failed operation. Yeah. So there's power in diversity. Yeah. Right. There's power in blending that thing up. It's like a smoothie, a gumbo, a salad. All pieces play their role to make that thing wholesome. So I don't know how much more time I got to. Listen, I've been a teacher till the sun went down. But the message, the point of what I want us to understand, right? Because from what I can see, the UU fellowship is big on service to the world around us. Right? If I'm correct, right? That's a good assumption, right? That's amazing. Let's always focus on that. Let's let that be the core of our operation. But it's layers and it's levels. It's layers and it's levels. So before we can get out into the community and affect change, let's make sure everybody in here is good. Because I don't want to go do a community event, and I've been fellowshipping with this man for a year. We ain't even sat down and had coffee none. And we go to the same house of worship. I ain't even hung out with your kids, and this isn't the third, but I want to be out into the world. So let's deal with what we have on our plate. Let's not overstuff ourselves. It ain't Thanksgiving, right? We don't have to stuff it. Let's dissect everything one piece at a time so that we can be effective with the impact. And I'll tell you right now, at 31 years old, I'm just now starting to learn things. I'm just now stopping to bump my head with stuff I probably should have stopped bumping my head on 10 years ago. But life happens. Life happens. Growth happens at different levels. My growth is different from your growth. The time in which I learned a lesson is different from the time in which you learned a lesson. The key is to learn the lesson and to not judge the next person on their journey.
Right.
We do too much judging on the journey as though we wasn't already in the mud before. We get out the mud, we wear a clean old suit like mine. Yeah. We wear a clean suit like mine, and then we judge the next person in the mud. Instead of rolling our sleeves up, maybe take my jacket off, help pull them out the mud with tools, resources, encouragement, whatever that help thing may be. And so I encourage us to get out into our communities, do the work, get uncomfortable with the work. Get uncomfortable with the work.
Right.
Some of the conversations that I have to have with my children, I'm talking about the students I work with on a daily basis, are absolutely heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
The stuff that these babies go through will crumble us as adults. And I mean that.
Yeah.
I do mean that. I've dealt with children who felt that the only way out to find peace was to put a razor to their wrists. I had a young woman, like I said, I don't want to get too graphic with the conversation, but I would be remiss in my duty if I didn't bring, like I said, the pain, the chaos, and the stories from my city. Because I do still have hope. Even on the worst days, I do still have hope. I dealt with a young lady, this was right before the pandemic, so 2019. She came out to a couple of us staff members at one of the schools I work with and said that she was selling her body. 16. 16. So now we, getting more into the story and getting more of the details, and as mandated reporters, you got to make certain phone calls, and even in that area, right, you got to be specific about that, because making some of those phone calls may do more damage than. But as mandated reporters, and I see a lot of head shaking, we understand what we have to do. Yes. And so I'm learning this young woman's story, and I'm learning about all the people who failed her on her journey. All the people who made her feel like that was the only option she had to take care of her and her child. I failed to mention that piece that she's 16 and has a child to take care of. And so what I'm saying is the work that I commit myself to doing is very uncomfortable. I don't want to live in a position on a pedestal when everybody around me is suffering. I don't want to live in a position of peace, but when I go outside my door, it's war right at my doorstep. And I'm talking about, well, as long as the fire, it stays out there, it ain't going to touch me, because eventually that fire going to spread to your house. And then you're going to be wishing somebody came with their fire hose to put it out how you should have helped somebody else put their fire out. And so check our intentions, check our biases, take our masks off. We live in what I call the filter generation. All the young kids got the Snapchat and the Instagram and the Twitter and you got all these different filters, and you take a picture of yourself and put the filter on it. You don't even look like, you're looking at the picture like, who is this? Take that filter off. Be your true, authentic self. That's one of the things we're going to talk about on the speakers tour this weekend. Authentic leadership.
Yeah.
Do you want to lead for a check? Do you want to lead because it's in your heart? Do you want to lead because Instagram says it's the cool thing to do nowadays and you want to ride the wave? What are your intentions? And so with that being said, family, I know we have like a bit of a talk back portion coming up, but there we go. So I won't get too far ahead of myself. But again, I'm appreciative of this time. I've never been this far up in Wisconsin. I've done a bunch of work. I'm like, we up north. That's all right. We north, straight up and down. Not on the angle like this. You up, go up. But I'm appreciative. And I hope that as I explore these places over the next couple of days, that I can drive more uncomfortable conversations that lead to growth. I hope that I can drive more uncomfortable conversations that lead to service. I hope that I can drive more uncomfortable conversations that say, what can I do to make the world a better place around me? And not just around me. Because I'll share this story and kind of let the rest of the service ride out, if you will. It's not about serving that just which looks like me. Let me give y'all a story. I had to check my bias. That's why I'm so big on telling folks that when I go speak and teach. Check your bias, for real. I was doing a workshop in La Crosse. I was with some elementary children. I was working with the 3rd grade group at this time, right? And our project was we were making books about our future. So I kind of taught them how to brainstorm. We made thought webs, and then we made rough drafts of our books, and then we had a final copy that we made, and we read it to our families, right? It was a whole 3 or 4 week operation. One day, I'm working with the 3rd graders, and this little girl, family. She is throwing her paper off the table. She is throwing the crayons across the room. And I'm trying everything in my arsenal to, hey, talk to me. What's going on? I mean, I got a bunch of tricks in my Barney bag to help, correct and redirect and calm a child down and figure that thing out. And it was just a no-go for me, right? So she's storming out the class. One of the other staff members, goes to get her and deal with it, right? Now, in my limited mind, it's probably like 2015 or so, in my limited mind frame, I said, if she was from my community, we whoop kids like that. She need a whooping. Little white girl said she need a whooping. That's what the problem is. Come to find out, limited thinking, stinking thinking. In 3rd grade, she didn't want to do the assignment because it dealt with dreaming for a future. What stunted her growth was the fact that her father was not around, her mother was on crystal meth, and she has 2 younger siblings that she gets ready every day.
Wow.
3rd grade. She's changing diapers. She's getting lunches to get packing lunches, making sandwiches. So when we got to the nitty gritty of it, the root and the tutor of it, she said she wanted to be a ballerina.
Wow.
But said she didn't like the assignment because the environment around her said that she don't have time to dream. Why be damned? And so I had to check my body. I'm talking about my self-talk on the way back home, that 2-3 hour drive on the way home. I said I would never limit my thinking to say that trauma, drama, depression, oppression, all of these things only apply to that which looks like me. I'm not the only person going through it. I'm not the only person going through it. And so with that being said, family, I put the call and the mandate and the challenge out for us to do better and be better for ourselves. Yes. For our immediate villages. Call and check in on folks, not just because it's the holiday time. I'm big on, if I think about somebody in that moment, I might just shoot a text. Hey, I love you. I don't even want nothing. Don't text me back because I'm busy, but I want to be obedient. Right? I'm big on that. I'll call you later or something like that. Just want to call and check in. Me and cousin, we do check-ins. Almost every morning they'll say, hey, how you doing today? You start your morning good? You all right? If it's good, we basking in that. If we having a down day, we allow each other a little bit of space to, and we offer that motivation and we get on out here into the battlefield. Because that's what we do. We warriors. We not warriors. We come to fight a good fight, a real fight. And we're going to come fight a winning fight. The thing about the fight, we may not even see the victory in our lifetimes. But we will be contributors to that victory. That's good. Yes, God. So with that being said, family, I appreciate my time. I know we're going to have a break and some talk back type of energy. I'm here for it. I'm appreciative of it. Thank you. Will you be coming back up to lead us in more program?
Wow. We will now have hymn number 347. If you would stand, please.
Spirit of heart and them. Gather in hope, rejoicing and sing. Gather to celebrate once again. Where is fear, growing in awe, taught by the moon and fed by the sun. Winter to spring, and summer to fall, the chorus of life resounding as one. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again.
I will now extinguish the chalice with these words attributed to Saint Francis of Assisi. Where hate rules, let us bring love. Where sorrow, joy. Let us strive more to comfort others than to be comforted, to understand others than to be understood, to love others more than to be loved. For it is giving that we receive, and in pardoning that we are pardoned.
How are you? That's good. I should give you a finger. Oh, no.
I'm not gonna hug you.
How you doing, kind sir? Awesome. Thank you. It's really awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I'm a but I wish I could talk to radio.
It took me. I've trained myself to be.
Yeah, I know.
It took a while. It took a while.
And I've been been through black churches and black ministers. Can't put myself in that place.
I understand.
Where words just come out.
I understand. Yeah. I love doing what I do. Yeah, look, practice makes practice.
You're very good at well. You have a wonderful message.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for joining us. Have a great rest of your day.
I think that helps to let it be so much more fluid. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.